Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jeff J. Brown, China Rising Radio Sinoland in Shenzhen, just south of the Tropic of Cancer. Have a wonderful update for you, and it's sobering reading, but must reading if you really want to understand how the world works. It is entitled, Jeff Kaye Exposes Another Shocking Guantanamo Gulag, quote, suicide, end of quote. Western psychopaths never look back. Pictured above, a slide from a PowerPoint presentation for Guantanamo training, an exhibit in the AR-15-6 release discovered by Dr. Jeff Kaye. Even though it was unclassified, they still redacted the subtitle below where it says Joint Detention Group, where it is marked B7E. Notice the honor bound. Psychopaths love to serve empire and glorify their inhumane crimes. Here we go. Jeff Kaye has again done masterful, thorough, and convincing research into the supposed sixth suicide at Guantanamo Gulag, this time in a detailed article he just posted. And, of course, there's tons of links. Please go to the original article or YouTube or SoundCloud. This is a follow-up to his must-read Sherlock Holmes-esque expose book called Cover Up at Guantanamo, the NCIS investigation into the, quote, suicides, end of quote, of Mohammed al-Hanashi and Abdul Rahman al-Amri, which destroys the government's claim that these two other prisoners, quote, killed themselves, end of quote. Jeff talked about his book in a recent interview on China Rising Radio Sinoland. It is sobering yet essential listening for all world citizens to fathom the macabre machinations of Western Empire. What is so chilling about all the evidence, Jeff explains, is how clinical and methodical Guantanamo Gulag's masters and minions are. But psychopaths always are, aren't they? It's like reading John Fowles' book, The Collector, about a man who kidnapped, imprisoned, and eventually killed a young girl, or Thomas Harris's Silence of the Lambs. These chilling characters are obsessive, even meticulous about their routine for torture and the slow, agonizing death of their victims. They portray real-life psychopaths, people who intellectualize, compartmentalize, and rationalize the terrible agony they commit on fellow humans or other animals. They are incapable of feeling any sense of remorse or guilt as they torture, maim, rape, and slaughter their victims. Why? Because in the minds of a psychopath, they deserve to suffer and die. It's their fault. They brought it on themselves. The U.S. government hierarchy above and in Guantanamo Gulag works exactly the same, and Dr. Kaye exposes this institutional sickness in spades. Video and audio evidence miraculously gets lost. Files are purged on computers. Pages of reports are censored and redacted to protect the executioners, all in order to perpetuate a vile, inhumane nightmare that will go on as long as Western Empire exists. In spite of their tireless efforts to hide the truth, and no matter how methodical they may be, psychopaths always leave clues and evidence. Jeff Kaye takes the time to comb through reams of documents to piece together what really happened and is happening in Guantanamo Gulag to this day. Factotums have gleefully filled volumes detailing the horrific torture and death of billions of innocents during endless, expansionary European wars, going back to ancient Greece and Rome, the Spanish Inquisition, the Crusades, and ongoing capitalist colonial genocide around the world. It's something Westerners love to extol, since their racism and cultural pathology reduce its thousands of years of victims to subhuman, soulless vermin who deserve their fate and are, thank God, being put out of their misery for simply existing in their perceived, quote, primitive, end of quote, state. There have been many documented cases where Western soldiers paraded body parts of the innocents they have butchered, proud of their racist genocide. In the book An Indigenous Peoples History of the United States, author Roxanne Dunbar-Ortiz described how Indian killers wore necklaces of native breasts, vulvas, penises, scrotums, and paraded in front of applauding, sold-out theater crowds around the country. You can rest assured they were all God-fearing, Jesus-loving Christians and Jews. U.S. military men have practiced this same sick fetish in every war they have participated in, Korea, Vietnam, elsewhere, and you can count on, quote, human souvenirs, end of quote, being brought back today from empires' many invaded and occupied lands on every inhabited continent, packed right next to their Bibles and Torahs. Jeff Kaye deserves plaudits for exposing Guantanamo Gulag, one of the many cogs in Western civilization's millennial, paranoid, pathological foundations, what I call the 6 E's of racism: expansionism, extermination, expropriation, extraction, enslavement, and evangelism. This is Jeff J. Brown, China Rising Radio Sinoland, signing out, and have a good week.